Hi, from the capital city of Canada, Ottawa.
This is our last leg in our little road tour this week.
Yeah, so we were going from Toronto to Montreal, Montreal to Quebec, and now Quebec to Ottawa. So we actually arrived last night. We went to eat at the ByWard Market and actually waited until the show that is presented here, which is the Northern Light. It's not bad at all. It's really nice with the projection on the building.
Sounds, lights, and special effects.
So it's a history lesson hidden in an entertainment.
Sure.
Still really nice. They've changed a little bit of the narrative since the last time we were here, so they're making adjustment.
Because the one that's currently being played, this is the last season for it as is. So for next year, it's gonna be something different.
We went this morning to the War Museum. It was a nice museum. I really do like it. There is a temporary exhibition right now with Game of War, so literally War games. So literally games for that is related to war, like strategy war game. Hey, chess. Chess is a game of war. There's Settlers of Catan. And
Call of Duty.
Yeah, so they also present the video games. So there's Call of Duty, Wolfenstein 3D.
The old Atari games. There were like 2 stations that kids were playing on them.
That's right. So that's a fun one for them to play. We also participate in a game they created. That was a lot of fun. It's a simple game.
It's sad that they didn't, like the museum didn't think of actually creating purchasable version of that game. It's fairly simple. It would be, I think, great game for kids to play.
I don't know how long you can play it. I mean, I think it was designed for the exhibition as well. Because, you know, it's still less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not a long game by any means, but I guess that's something that could modify the type of game, how it could be extended. The main exhibition itself is basically going through the war for the nation's first people here. Then it goes into the Great War, or the World War I and World War II, and then basically the modern conflict. Anything happens after World War II. So you got the Korean War and the war in Rwanda and a lot of other wars, Cold War. They even talked about the formation of NATO and
a lot of donated vehicles, cannons, and all sorts of things, even from like the soldiers' personal items.
We also go to, well, I guess a garage, just where they put in all their tanks and other vehicles, small one amphibians and mini tank. There's also other stuff like the artillery and, you know, the old cannons all the way to the new ones. It's funny how the basic principle of it, it's still the same, just a little bit of different technologies.
And the size has changed.
Yeah.
You can look inside a couple of the tanks, how little space the soldiers have in it.
Yeah, so soldiers, they do not have comfort and
they do not have any personal space.
Not at all. No, I really do like the Museum of War, so highly recommend it. Another thing beside us is the flame. There's some symbolic reason for that. We are enjoying Ottawa. There's a little breeze here and there, but I'm still sweating.
Especially on the hill, you get a little bit more air. So good to be on the Capitol Hill for a little bit of a breeze. Let's continue on.
Let's go. We didn't get into the parliament. We were supposed to schedule it, but the problem is we don't know how long we wanted to stay in the War Museum. So by the time that we were nearby, not sold out because it is free, but it was all taken.
Yeah.
So there's only one spot at 4:45 and there's 4 of us, so that doesn't work. We went to the Rideau Canal and enjoyed our time there. We timed it very well because we wanted to go to the Notre Dame Basilica and they closed at 5. So my suggestion is go to the Basilica and then on the way back, you go ahead and look at the canal.
That is not timed.
Where are we exactly?
We're in Gatineau, I believe.
So we're in the Museum of Canadian History. I think it's across the river from Ottawa. So I guess we're technically in Gatineau.
You may be able to see the Parliament already in my head.
It's a big museum.
It's a lot of walking.
Yeah, it's 4 floors. The first one is dedicated to the first people of the nation.
Actually, most of the exhibit is dedicated to the natives.
There's like a lot of totem pole, the clothes that they're wearing, the tools, they were all back before the European comes in. Then it transitions into time where there's a lot of settlers coming in from Europe. The last one is the modern. Canada is a very young country.
It is.
Very interesting. A lot to see for sure.
Yeah, a lot of interactive things to touch. So I guess it's a bit for the kids. Although I must say I'm not the biggest fan of how they go about explaining what the items are.
I think it's missing an audio guide or something like that. They should do that. In terms of the flow, the first one we got confused because there was many entrances. So I guess there's really not a flow. But for the main one, like I said, there's the 1, 2, and 3, and then it is kind of like an IKEA.
Guide you through the exhibits.
Yeah, so that one is kind of more organized. I think you should dedicate a whole day because it is going to get tired.
If you've never been to the museum yet.
But if you have other things to do, it will take you half of the day.
Or you can just go and see certain parts of it.
After the museum, we went to Vantage Point, which is above the cafe. And you get to see the water here behind us.
The view.
And the parliament and so on. So that's a nice view. So a little bit down below, there's closer to the water. It's like a nice park. And this is our last leg of the trip, road trip. So right after this, we're going to be driving back to Toronto. It was a great one, busy one.
Oh yeah.
A lot of walking, very tiring.
Especially with the heat.
Yeah, and see you guys in our next leg. Maybe we can go down to the States, back in New York. That's an option, because not too far from where we are.
See you guys.
So let's see. Whoa, I get 4 attacks.
I'm 1.
And 1 defense, so I sink 3.
Oh, goodbye. Bye-bye.
But here you're gonna have 2 defenders versus my 1.
A ponieważ tu mamy 2, więc 2 będziemy mieli.
2 attacks, lots of defense, no problems here.
So what's the strategy, Commander? What's the plan of attack?
Washroom. He's first.
Bloom.
Boom.